Hey, friends, welcome to another episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. The title of this episode is Connecting Families Around the World. In this episode, we are speaking with Anieke Lamers, who is the co founder and CEO of Peekabond, that is a global platform that helps families build bonds with young kids. Peekabond unlocks deep family bonds between kids, family, and loved ones at a distance through asynchronous connection with playful content, inspiration such as interactive lessons, activities, games, stories, and songs. Anieke, it is such an honor to have you on. I'm really excited to talk about this platform. But before we dive into today's content, can you give the audience a little bit more about your background and how you got to where you are
Yeah,
today?
sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Anieke. I'm the founder of Peekabond. My background, I'm Dutch. I'm born and raised in the Netherlands, but I have family all over the world. I also lived myself in 5 different continents. So, continents, Australia, America, UK, Kenya, and South America. Yeah, that's 5. I'm just thinking, like, is that correct? And my sister, for example, she lives in Australia, and she has a 3-year-old daughter and a 2-week-old daughter now. And I love them very dearly. And I found out how difficult it is to build up a connection with young children when you cannot be physically together all the time.
Mm.
And then in my family, there's also, of course, a time zone difference that is making it even harder. So I looked for solutions out there and I couldn't find anything that really fitted what I was looking for. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to create it myself. Because my background is also in venture capital. So I used to work as an investor for different venture capital funds. And I saw a lot of startups, and I always secretly wanted to have my own startup, but I never really had that one idea where I thought, oh, that's good enough to go for until I saw this idea. And I also saw a huge trend in the market of other female founders really crushing it. And I thought, you know what, if they can do it, then so can I. So I just, yeah, went ahead and did it. So 2 years later now, we have a team of about 7 people. Our app has been downloaded in 60 countries, and we have done an investment round ourselves as well with angel investors. So those are private people who invest in our company. And we're really helping families all around the world with our mobile app. And I'm encouraging everyone to try it out. So what it really does, it gives two things to families. One, it gives content suggestions of all sorts of games that you can play with young children when you're not together. And secondly, it gives a way to directly connect to young children when you are at a distance and save videos that you create for each other in one spot for the child. Or for yourself, of course. And you can also record the response of the children in the app. So that's really cool. I can actually see how my little niece in Australia is responding to videos that I send her.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. And I do believe like the world that we live in, everyone is so spread apart. They live in different countries. It's just the world that we live in today.
Yeah,
So it's amazing that you found a space needed for this because with FaceTime, you can't really record anything. And
no,
you're right about the time zone. Even for us trying to connect, it's like, when is it going to work? You're in the Netherlands, I'm in the United States. And
exactly.
the time zone thing can really, be a hinder on trying to connect with like your child. So I
Indeed.
I really love this program. I think it's amazing. And so what can you give to like other moms like wanting to go out there and do the startup thing? I really loved your go-getter attitude. Like if they can do it, I can do it. I think that's how you definitely need to be in life. And
Yes.
and if it scares you a little bit, that means
Hmm.
good. Go for it.
Yes,
If you
exactly.
have a desire and it scares you, it's
Hmm.
it's meant for you. And
Indeed.
you're changing the space, and I would just love for you to help encourage other moms to
Yes,
like go out there and do those dreams. So,
exactly. So I think there are two things very important. One is you need to have examples of other women or people that you recognize yourself in. Doesn't have to be women necessarily, right? Who are doing it so that you can also do it. There's just a mental thing there that really helps. So knowing this, I would also encourage women to help others more. So from research, it's also been proven that um, a lot of women who are reaching the top feel like they had to work so hard for it that they're not going to help other women to reach the top because they worked so hard for it. So I think helping each other out is one very important aspect of it. Um, I also think, having mentors around you are very important. And people love mentoring other people, right? So I think one thing that I really just dared to ask is just people who I spoke to and who I admire, to just ask them, hey, can I get some mentorship advice from you? And they were just, really charmed that I would ask them for help. And people have a tendency to help. So I think a lot of women don't dare to ask for help. So if there's one thing, just dare to ask for help as well. And not to everyone, I guess, but just to select people that you really, truly admire. And that's really going to help you further, I think. So the advisors that I chose around me, mentors and advisors and coaches, I guess, are just a handful of people with all different expertise and very, I guess, either complementary to what I have as an expertise, but also a few years ahead, like at least I would say 3, maybe 5 years ahead of you. I wouldn't choose the mentors that are like 20 years ahead of you because sometimes they're just too far ahead of you, if you know what I mean. So try to find someone who's close enough that they're still relating to your situation and can really give you some useful tips. So those are my 2 tips. And then, of course, for the moms in this network, if you want to have a bit more time on your own hands and you want to have guilt-free me time, I guess, you can also give your child the Peekabond app, which is an app to help your child connect with family members at a distance. So you can have a few minutes to yourself. So that's also something that I think is a practical, nice thing to do.
So can you explain the platform a little bit more and like how it works?
Yes.
Where can they access this? Is this on an app or is it
Yes, it
only
is an app.
on the internet?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's you can go to peekabond.com and or to the app stores. Actually, that's a more direct way to go to do it. So if you have an iPhone, you go to the Apple App Store, and if you have a Google phone or whatever other Android phone, you can go to the Google Play Store, of course, and you can just find Peekabond there and download it. And once you download it, it eventually asks you to invite your family members to your family circle. So it's a closed circle. So my circle is like 5 family members who I'm closest to and who I share videos with in a private setting. So it's not like Facebook where you have 1,000 friends, but it's really private and small and safe and secure. And once you have your family members on there, you can actually do all sorts of games and get those content suggestions for connecting with young children on the platform. So depending on the age of the child, you'll get content suggestions that also suit the age of the child. So for example, for children who are a bit younger, you can start with, like, for example, 6-month-old baby, you can already play Peekaboo in the app, right?
So
To
it's like,
hide and seek.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's like
Yeah,
interactive. So it's like I could be playing peekaboo with, you know, my niece or nephew in another
exactly.
place. So all of these games are like interactive. So it's not just
Correct.
talking, it's like you can play games with them and
Yes.
Okay. And then so you
Yes.
can, and then I think you said like you can record messages, right? So then they can like,
Correct. Yeah.
okay.
Yes. So it's not live at the moment. So you're asynchronous is what it's called. So you're actually recording a video, and then the person on the other end can just watch the video when it suits them, when they're in the right mood for it. So when I, for example, play Peekaboo, I can see the response of my child at a distance to the video that I sent, but not necessarily at the same time, right? Because they are just recording their response. And the same goes for reading a story or for doing a magic trick. So I can send a magic trick and I can see how they respond to the magic trick. So in that sense, it is interactive and it is a two-way street. So it's not just that you send something and then don't get anything back, but it is not live at the moment.
Oh, okay. And okay, so thanks for explaining that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how do you come up with like the games and
Yeah.
interactiveness for
Yeah. I love that question. I do it all myself, so I get inspired by a lot of things around me, about interactions that I see in real life between people, but also I do research on what is good for children's development and what games you can play with them in order to help them develop that specific aspect. For example, drawing or doing like how to, for example, learn new music notes or how to dance hip hop moves. There's also some sort of technique behind it. So I just research all that stuff myself, and then I have my co-founder Alia, who has a PhD in game design, as well as a master in child development science, and she then also makes sure that all the content suggestions that we give in the app are linked to child development milestones. So you know for sure that when you do something in the app, it's actually also linked to why it is important that you do that with your child.
No, that's super cool. And then going back to like the family circle, like you said you had 5 people. Is there a limit on how many people can be a part of the family circle?
No, there's no limit. Like if
Okay.
you have a big family, you can invite as many people as you like.
Okay.
Ultimately, I think we haven't implemented our subscription business model yet, but
Mhm.
when we do, we will probably limit it to a number of devices. That's also how, for example, Netflix or Spotify does it, right? So you have one family subscription and you can have, for example, 6 devices on it. So we haven't implemented it yet. So it's still completely free for everyone to use because we're still a learning startup, and we're really learning a lot from people testing the app and using it. So that's why we haven't charged anything to our users yet. But ultimately, down the end, we might limit the number of people using it, because that obviously brings a lot of storage cost for us as well to store all the videos that people create in the app. But that's down the line. So yeah, I think that might clarify your answer, right?
Yeah, no, totally, it does. No, I just think it's so great because people miss out on these opportunities, and I love how you can interactively play with them because like it's also a learning development thing. It gets the kids excited about something fun and not just like, oh, hey, it's me. It's just like peekaboo
Yeah,
or the dancing or
exactly.
whatever
Yeah,
that you have. Like, and it's an exciting thing to look forward to. Like,
exactly.
oh, like what is, Auntie Anieke gonna send me today?
Yes, exactly.
Hey, friends, I hope you are enjoying this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. This podcast would not be possible if it wasn't for the support of you, my wonderful community. To support your mama's podcast, please click the support link right down below, and you can donate just as little as 99 cents. Also, follow me in the Shop Like to Know It app, where you can follow me with all my exclusive content, all the way from baby products I love, fashion and style, and everything in between. Now, let's get back to the episode.
that's actually what happens now. So my little niece in Australia, when I forget to send her a video, she asks her mom like, "When is my next video?" So that's yeah, very nice to hear as well that it works what we're doing. And our users also tell us this. So we also got a letter from a grandma last week who said that her grandson was very angry when she wouldn't send a video for a week. So, yeah, yeah, she was like, okay, I have to get busy again sending video to my grandson. So, yeah, that's nice.
No, I love that. So you're saying right now there's not like a fee to participate in it. And if those
Correct.
people sign up now, are they
Yeah,
grandfathered in not paying a subscription, or will it eventually change?
I love that pun with the grandfathered in, but um, not intended, I'm sure. But no, when people come in, I think we will always keep the current features free. We might have to charge an additional fee for premium features. So we still have to figure that out down the line. But I think what I want to enable is that people can at least send the videos back and forth the way they do now for free, because that's also for free, for example, on WhatsApp and FaceTime, right?
Mhm.
So that's also not something that people are willing to pay for. But for example, to get more premium content suggestions or get like extra nice stickers or a special program where you can do, for example, remote hip hop dancing with grandma, and you can learn a skill through the app with your grandma at a distance. That's something that we would charge for.
Oh,
So we haven't implemented it yet because we haven't fully finished it yet. But we're building every week, and super exciting to see all the development in the product as well.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. And that feels very rewarding for you. I think it was a genius idea. I love it. So before I
Thank
dive
you.
into my 4 questions, do you have anything else you'd like to let the audience know about the app, or just any
Um,
words of encouragement for someone else wanting to go after their dreams?
yes. I love that question. I think stay true to yourself, and also your why. For me, it was very clear that this is something in my heart that I wanted to solve, and it really gets me through the hard days. So when you have a rough day, or something along the line that bothers you, um, don't be frustrated about it, and just tune into that feeling and that why of why you started it, and focus also on the things around that why that confirm that you're on the right track. So um don't lose sight of why you started it. That's what I'm saying. um and I was very curious, Christina. I'm sure your audience already knows this, but do you also have children yourself?
I do. I have 2 children. I have just turned a 4-year-old, and I have a 13-month-old, kind of going on 14
Oh,
months.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
so
I do
exciting.
have 2 kids of my own. And
That's lovely.
one of the reasons why I started this podcast is because I was feeling a little bit lost myself in motherhood. It was such a blessing, but it's like I was also feeling like there's more to life for
Mm,
me. And I know there's probably other women out there too that sometimes feel a little bit lost, like
mm,
some people have a harder transition than others, but my first one really knocked me off my feet.
I can
But what I
imagine.
really love, what is great, is because my husband's from Philadelphia originally. So
Mm-hmm.
my children's cousins and aunts, a lot of them, and grandpas and nanas and papas
Mm,
are over in the East Coast. So
mm-hmm.
this is something really cool for them to be able to do, to communicate, like even with my children. And then, I have a lot of, family also in California. So even though the time where my time zone is the same where I'm at in Nevada, but
Yeah.
it's still something really fun that I think that my kids would really enjoy doing with especially with their pop and nana and their uncles,
Oh, yeah, I love that.
cousins over in Philadelphia, because the time change, I mean, they're 3 hours into the future,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
3 hours ahead of me. You're like what, like 11 hours or something like that?
Yeah, it's 8:30 almost here now. So indeed.
Yeah.
Well, not 11 hours, but
Yeah, something
yeah,
like that. I just know it's like it's night there and it's day here.
exactly. Yeah.
so, but it's great for, something for my kids to do. And I like the interactiveness, because sometimes when they're so young, they don't hold the attention as well with FaceTime and like talking. So it's something that's good. So it's like when they're ready to sit down and listen and kind of see something fun and interactive, and then to do it back again. I think I love that.
Yeah, me too. I love it. And
Um,
that was also something that I ran into with a limited attention span. And the videos that are created in the app are typically quite short. So that also solves that they don't have to sit in front of the camera and like do a forced video call with Nana or Pops if they don't feel like it, right? So
totally.
yeah, that's I guess also another benefit.
Perfect. Well, Anieke, I have 4 questions that I ask
Yeah.
all my first time guests. And my first question to you is, who and what inspires you?
Who? My mom and my sister and my little niece actually also, who inspired me to create the app, and also other female founders who I have seen crushing it, and yeah, that I just look up at and asked for help, and they gave it to me, and I was like, wow, I want to do that to myself. So give back to the community.
Love it. Good answer. And then my second question is, what is something you wished you knew when you were younger?
Yeah, I love that question because I think um, there's so many times where I was like, oh, I should have started that when I was younger because it would have been so much easier to learn. So I would say learning new skills, like, for example, learning how to play a guitar. I tried it so many times now, but I feel like it's just like I don't have the patience for it. Like my fingers don't move in that way. And for example, surfing, I would love to learn it, but I haven't done that. And a new language, like I'm also moving to Portugal in a couple of weeks, and learning a new language when you're like 30 plus, it's impossible.
Yeah,
So I'm like, yeah. So learning new skills in general.
perfect. No, I love that. And I totally agree with you. Like, oh, I could have started this when I was younger. And, if I wasn't thinking about this, then I would have been able to focus on this and I'd be so much further ahead. So I totally feel you on that answer. So my third question is, what's the essential part of your daily routine?
Yeah, it's my dog, and she's being very naughty now. So this is a very typical timing, with nature. Sometimes they just don't. They just it's very synchronous, I guess. But walking my dog is something that I really need to do now these days. My dog keeps me sane, and walking her keeps me sane normally. Today is not one of those days. And I also go swimming with her every morning in the Dutch canal, actually,
Uh-huh.
around the corner. And even in winter, I do it, and it's really good for my health as well. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I haven't been ill or sick ever since I got my dog and I started doing that. And it's freezing cold, so you can't really call it swimming in winter time because it's basically dipping in and then rushing out. But it's something that I really enjoy doing, and I recommend to anyone else.
Yeah, my husband does cold showers every morning, and
Yeah,
they say it's
yeah,
really healthy to do cold plunges and stuff for the body. So
indeed, it
um,
is.
it's really healthy for you. And then
Yeah.
my last question is, the best advice you've ever received.
Yes, I'm a very impatient person by nature, and I still remember when I was a little girl, I went on a camp, and I got like everyone could grab like a small piece of paper. It was like a fortune cookie from a basket, and mine said just be patient. And I was like, why do I have to be patient as a child? And it just kept haunting me my entire life. And I just think it's just such a nice advice that I think for impatient people, life is not a life is not a sprint, it is a marathon, right? So be patient and enjoy the ride.
No, that's really great. We always need a good reminder for that because we live in such a fast-paced world. When we don't see the outcomes that we desire quickly, we give up on ourselves and get impatient. So it's always a great reminder
Exactly.
to know that, it's a
Yeah,
marathon, not a sprint. Well, Anieke,
exactly.
thank you so much for coming on. It was such an honor. And if you guys want to check out the app, all of the links are down below. If you want to connect with Anieke, all of her links are down below. And thank you so much for coming on. It was such an honor and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.